Hi there, Linda from Let's Talk Preppy, and I'm at the DC Clothesline, and that's dcclothesline.com. And here's an article by Michael Snyder. He's a really good author. He has a lot of good things happening, and that's today's date, June 21st, 2022. And he has his own website if you want to visit it, theeconomiccollapse.com. theeconomiccollapse.com. And he asks, what is your plan to make it through the worst global food crisis in any of our lifetime? And he goes through some of the things that are happening in the food supply. We'll look at some of these things just really fast, but I want you to look at the very end, a list of 50 things that he says you should be purchasing now to be able to survive the coming chaos and crisis that's going to come our way. And if you're a beginner prepper, these 50 things might even be new to you, and you can put them on your list of, oh, I would love to get these things. If you're an experienced prepper and have been prepping a while, just take a glance at these 50 items, because there might be one thing there that you'll say, oh, I didn't even think of that. I better run out and at least get it or see about it. So how are you going to make it through the worst global food crisis in any of our lifetime? He says its food shortages are going to be real. The head of the UN food program is telling us 811 million people are experiencing hunger. The UN has warned that it could be hell on earth due to the global economic impacts. David Beasley, director of the UN World Food Program, has said that the war has been devastating in conjunction with various other factors. He said the world is faced with frightening shortages that could destabilize countries. The Black Farmers Association said we're in a crisis right now. We're going to see a lot more empty shelves and high food prices. And of course the Tampax shortage and the baby formula shortage. And he says these shortages are just a very small preview of what is approaching. So what are your plans to make it through the worst global food crisis in any of our lifetimes? Have you been stocking up? And he said earlier this year he published a list of 50 basic items he would recommend having on hand. And here's the list. And number one, he says, is a generator. I'm not sure I would put that as number one. It's going to depend upon what you think is going to happen with the electric grid. Are we just going to have rolling blackouts that are only going to last a short period of time? Then you could get a gas generator and you could store enough gas for something like that. But if you think it's going to be a long-term outage, you're not going to be able to store enough gas. That's going to be the problem. And whatever you do, if you're storing gas and you're using a gas generator, use it sparingly. Don't just go all out the very first night and put everything on it. Use it, plan on having a long-term outage and having enough gas to last. The other kind of generator you might think about would be a solar generator. I would look and see what I must have. Are there any medical equipment that I have to have? How about a refrigerator? And I would see then how many watts or how much power they take and how big a solar generator I would have to purchase. The second thing he says is a Berkey water filter. So any kind of a water filter will be good, because if there's a power outage, you're going to have to be able to get water from somewhere. Now, if you don't think there's going to be any power outages, you don't have to worry about these things. But I really think we're going to have grid down at some point. And Berkeys are very expensive. There are other water filters out there, but you can buy the Berkey filters and make your own water filter. And lots of YouTube videos on that. A rainwater collection system, and you can get the 55-gallon drums, the food grade drums, and just run it off your gutter, off the roof. Now, those 55-gallon food grade drums, if they're brand new, are very expensive, but you can go to Craigslist and usually you can pick them up for about $20 or so. An emergency medical kit, very important. And then food. He says rice, and rice is a staple all over the world. People eat rice 3 times a day, some of them. So get rice and then store it in Mylar bags or the 5-gallon buckets. Pasta, if you're a pasta eater, that would be good. Canned soup. I probably would say canned meat here instead of canned soup. Canned vegetables. Now, all these cans usually will last a lot longer than the expiration date printed on them. Canned fruit. Here we go, canned chicken. Jars of peanut butter. Again, peanut butter, if you look at the expiration date, is not very far out. But people have tried peanut butter that's 5, 6 years past the expiration date, and they say it's been okay. It would have to be up to you. Salt, sugar, powdered milk, bags of flour. And if you're going to have bags of flour, you've got to store them properly in the Mylar bag. Yeast, if you're going to be making bread. Extra coffee if you drink it. But of course, coffee, again, the expiration date is not very long. And I'm not sure you can really store coffee in Mylar bags. If anybody knows if you can and how long it would last, let us know in the comments. And then buckets of long-term storable food. So you can get the ready-made buckets. They're usually pretty expensive, so it might be better to make your own. Just take the rice and the beans and put them in the buckets. Extra vitamins will be very important. And then, depending upon how you're going to heat your house and how you're going to cook, you're going to need lighters or matches, especially if the cost of oil, if you have oil heat, and oil is going way up this year. So you might want to, if you have a wood stove, or if the grid is down and you have to cook outside over an open fire, you're going to need lots of lighters, lots of matches. Candles, again, candles are going to run out. Flashlights or lanterns. I have those lights that are solar that you can charge in the sunlight and then use them at night. Those are probably what you really should be looking for. And if you have a small solar generator or solar power pack, you could get the lights and flashlights that are USB and then plug them in. Plenty of wood to burn. And that means if you have a wood stove, you're going to need to keep warm. But also, if you've got to cook outside, you're going to need wood or something to cook over. Extra blankets, sleeping bags, a sun oven. Sun ovens are pretty expensive. I did look into them, and I haven't purchased one. So I thought they're expensive, and I'm not sure in the winter when you probably would use it, you would get enough sun to cook with it. I'm not sure about that. Extra fan if you live in a hot climate. I bought a couple of USB fans. They really work well, and I can charge them on a small solar battery pack or even a solar generator. Your sanitation, all of these, toilet paper, shampoo, toothpaste, razors, bottles of bleach. And again, bleach doesn't last that long either. A battery-powered radio. Extra batteries. It would be nice if these are rechargeable batteries and you have a way to recharge them. Solar chargers, trash bags, tarps. Tarps are pretty good. You can do a lot with tarps. I was going to do a whole video on how you can use tarps for various things, like collecting rainwater, and if you have to, in the winter, if you have to block off some rooms so that you're only heating one room, your tarp would work. If you get broken windows and you can't get out to get them because of the grid down, you might need a tarp. Pocket knife, hammer, axe, shovel. I think here a shovel and all kinds of garden tools would be good. Work gloves, N95 mask. Definitely seeds for a garden, because we are going to have the worst food crisis ever, and you're going to have to be gardening for the next 5 years probably. So you're going to need all kinds of seeds, canning jars if you know how to can, an extra supply for your pets, an emergency supply of cash, although I think if things get really bad, cash will be worthless. But if things are just a little bit bad and we just have some grid down here and there, cash would be good. a Bible for every member of your family, a bug-out bag for every member of your family. So this is what he recommends, and some are good. I would definitely get the food. I would definitely get something for water collection and for filtering my water. The medical kit, definitely. And go from there. Prioritize what you're going to need and go for it. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe and leave a comment.